I'm currently working here in the library module in the grid screen. Let's give ourselves a bit more space. And we see a lot of information around the frame and actually on the image. We can apply labels and stars and lots of other things which are quite useful. We also have a number at the top left, and I'm sure there's a good reason for that to be there, but it's not something I ever use, and it is something we can change. Now the changes we can make, if we right click any of these thumbnails and choose view options, are phenomenal. They are massive in some cases, so we're going to keep things pretty simple and just look at one or two. I think the important thing is to know that they are available if you have a particular need of some of these changes. We're going to start here with the grid view. One of the options is we can just turn off all of those options around the outer edge of the thumbnail itself. Well, I find them very useful, so something I wouldn't want to do. We can look at these cells in two ways: compact cells or expanded cells. I'm not going to go into the expanded cells because I think once we talk about the standard compact cells, then the options you've got within the expanded are much the same, and we would be repeating ourselves. So let's just look at a couple of these options, the ones that may be useful to know. This top option allows me to have all of these options to appear as I mouse over the frame of the thumbnail. If I untick this, they're on permanently. What we choose, I think, again, is a personal choice. The mouse over is fine for me. We can even change the tint of the colour labels we apply. Now, if I go to my options here and step it up to 50%, let me pick an image and apply a green label, and we'll step across to this one so we can see the frame. We can see how dark the frame has become in comparison to the colours we've added through the video so far. If I go back and reset that to default and then move away, you can see it's much paler. So even the density of the colour labels is in our control. Do we want to show the image info as a tooltip? Well, I think you'd choose one of two options. You either want some of this information on the frame permanently, or you just allow it to be as a mouse over. Normally when I just mouse over these images, the little pop-ups come up and show me all the details that I need. It's probably not doing it right now because of the fact I've got this view open. But what I have noticed with Lightroom from time to time, it does get the hump with me just a little bit, and sometimes I've had the need to just close it down and relaunch it when it wouldn't do something simple like add a label. Just something to keep in the back of your mind perhaps. So once we've selected the compact cells, do we want the flags to appear at the top left or not? There's the option. Thumbnail badges, which is this little icon down at the bottom right, again choose that or not. Can't really talk too much about unsaved metadata. It's not something I ever use and or have researched. Quick collection marker, that's that little circle that appears which can be quite useful, so why would we want to turn that off? Compact cell extras, the index number. So if I don't want the index number, here is where I can turn it off. And I very rarely use those rotations, so I could remove them as well if I want. If I tick the top label, then you can see the file name appears, but look at how many options we actually have. So if, for example, we did want to have something like exposure on the top, we can choose it there. The bottom label, that's the one that controls the ratings and the little button that turns on and off the color labels. So if you want to move away from that, once again, you've got a million different options, but on this occasion I'm going to stay with the default because I like that option to be there. Remember that what we're changing here are pure preferences. They're not going to affect the way we work at all. But when you're new to a piece of software, it can be annoying sometimes when you lose something and take an hour to try to find how to get it back or to remove what you don't want, just because we don't know where to go and where to find the option. The next option deals with expanded cell extras. I'm not going to deal with them because if I show you an expanded cell, you can see what it is, and we can just use some options for that too. I'm not too keen on them. I don't think I need all that extra space, so compact cells is fine for me. Let's take the briefest of looks at the Loupe view, and I'll confess that this is the first time I've opened this myself. Well, this looks pretty straightforward to me. We can tick the box to show an overlay, and we can see the information that's inside that Info 1. We get the choice of two types of information, so we can set up two completely separate panels. They're both set up remarkably similar, but if I select Info 2, you will see a change. So again, personal preference on whether we want any one of those showing or not. If we select Info 1, then of course we've got the same myriad of options that we can choose for all three sections of Info 1 and Info 2. To be honest, I think it would drive me crackers having that coming up all of the time, but of course there's always going to be someone somewhere where that's going to be extremely useful. But at least we know where to go to get this panel. If we're in the grid view, or possibly even in the Loupe view, right click. No, we need to be in the grid view. Right click and choose View Options. And there we can change them at any time. And of course once we've set them, they'll stay set until we decide to change them.